Redesigning the workforce for the future now. Hi guys, my name's Chris Long, coming to you from Australia. I have been looking at workforce planning, people strategy, talent strategy for a number of years now, which is why I'm talking about it. A little bit of a brief history for you guys that don't know me, never seen me speak before. 2001 I started in recruitment. I then successfully IPO'd my first recruitment agency in 2005. 2007 was a successful MBO of my second recruitment agency. At that point, couldn't carry on in recruitment agency life. 2008 started internal, did a few local, regional TA roles, and then moved on to global roles. 2012 I was running a 53 country transformation in the TA space, TM space. 2014 was a 44 country transformation, and then in 2016 I moved to the largest infrastructure project in APJ. 2019 it became the 5th largest infrastructure project in the world. So war for talent, is this still a thing? Well, the talent market, I think we've still got a war for talent, right? There's lots of talent available, but a lot of businesses are now being asked, is it the right talent? Does it have the right cultural fit? If we're out in market and looking for talent for the roles and for the organisations we're looking to fill, there's a lot of noise out there, right? So how do we sift through that noise? And then when we look at it potentially when companies are looking for what they used to look for, that talent that is not out in the market looking is even harder to get to move, okay? It's just something here in Australia we've seen just recently, a couple of clients where they're still looking for that top 3% of the market that they play in. They weren't stood down, they weren't made redundant. So what that talent is now looking for is totally different pre-COVID to post-COVID. Conditions, the conditions have changed, right? Some I believe have changed for better, and some for worse, because if you are a high-end tech business that had a campus where you had free breakfast, lunch and dinner, gyms, hairdressers, anything like that, that's no longer. Everyone's working from home, right? Look, I'm at home at the moment, and it doesn't matter about the employee benefits that I used to have. I've got the same pretty much employee benefits as I've always, as the level playing field is. So I think the conditions now are better for some, worse for others. So that obviously plays into an account. Then we have a look at time and budget. Everything is still time and budget. Doesn't matter whether we're pre or post pandemic. We always have time constraints. We've got to meet project deadlines, even BAU rollouts and budgets. What we're seeing at the moment is work from home. Companies are saying, yeah, you can work from home, which is great. But those people that are working from home 100% of the time, I know a couple of friends of mine have had to move, upgrade, so they actually have an office. Wish I had an office, by the way. But with that is extra layout for those people. And those people can't move into further afield than they're already at. Some of them have children that are in school, especially here. We're back to school. I know now going across the world there's a few countries going back to school and some aren't, but that's a restriction. So with a budget, does that talent and conditions, does that put a strain on a budget? Do CEOs still think that now they're not paying rents that they're making more money and can save more money, or are they putting it back into their products and their people? So these are the main 3 things I think we find when we look at war for talent. But as we're looking at transitioning through and coming out the back end of this pandemic, so workforce transition in the flow of change, okay? So what does that mean? I mean, the workforce and our workplace has always changed. from, you know, these big rows that we used to have, or we were in cubicles, to open collaborative spaces, to more interaction, being around our community, to what it is now. Lots and lots. I know we used technology before, but we're using it more than we ever have done. Who would have thought that 20 meetings that we used to have back in January, face to face in scenarios like that bottom right there, are now on this? And who has Zoom fatigue? Who's over Teams? Who's over Hangouts? I think we all are. But it's what we've got to deal with as we move forward. So what does that mean? So I think you've got characteristics of your people in your organisation, okay? So the characteristics, their aspiration, the aptitude towards technology, their attitude towards career, signature products and communication media that is across our workforce at the moment. So we've got maturists, so pre-1945, baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, and obviously Gen Z. They're in the workforce, and it's something that we do have to take into account. We've got these 5 generations. So the maturists, their aspiration is home ownership, okay? Baby boomers is job security, big one right now. Gen X, work-life balance, is that still a thing for Gen X? I think so. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I am over the fact that everyone thinks I'm available 24/7 just because you're working from home, right? Gen Y, so freedom and flexibility. Have they got that freedom and flexibility in this new world? Potentially, potentially not. They've got the flexibility potentially to work from wherever they like, but have they got the freedom that they desire? Gen Z, security and stability. Again, massive as we go forward. So how do you attract that workforce? Attitude towards technology. So, you know, the maturists are largely disengaged. They don't want to be on these platforms, okay? They're not interested. Baby boomers that were early IT adopters, but still, are they up to date with the technology that we need to do as we move through the this post-pandemic world? Gen X, myself, digital immigrant, I'm still over it though. Gen Y, digital natives, and Gen Z are technoholics. Definitely, I've got kids and I can't get them off devices. Attitude towards career, so for the maturists, so they think jobs are for life, okay? Baby boomers are, careers are defined by their employers. Myself, Gen X, loyal to my profession, but not necessarily to the employer. And Gen Y, obviously work with organisations, but not for organisations. Gen Z, so career multitaskers. Then we look at like our signature products. So the automobile was for the maturists, the television for the baby boomers, the computer for my generation, smartphones for Gen Y, and now for Gen Z, driverless cars, 3D printing, nano computing. So the communication media, formal letter for maturists, telephone was for baby boomers, email and SMS, wow, that was my era, and then SMS and social media for Gen Y, and all these handheld devices that Gen Z have got. You know, you can talk into your phone these days. Sorry, your watch. You can always talk into your phone. You could, baby boomers, when it was a cord. So why do I point this out? I'm pointing it out because as we move through change, we can't just think that the whole workforce is going to change with it. That some of them will come kicking and screaming, some of them will be out in front of us, right? And really embracing the new world as we learn more about it and how we're going to survive in it. So it's just something, maybe some of you are lucky that you've only got 3 generations of these. I've worked in organisations that have all of them, okay? Pretty much maybe the maturists are largely coming out now, but you've still got to take care of the whole workforce and not just think that because company X is using this, this is what we're going to use, and then you people just aren't getting on board, they're not coming along with the journey. So this really is just to say that there's more people than we think out there, especially if we only look at it from our own generational point of view, something that we do without knowing it. So what about reconstructing work? So widening the definition of the workforce. And what do I mean by this? So we've got to create value, options and opportunity, right? So how the nature of work is changing to achieve new business goals. It requires new skills and capabilities, given the rise of automation and augmentation. Then we've got the workplace. So everyone knows this one right now, right? Where the work can get done geographically, and how can we maximise collaboration, productivity and consistency with physical design and technologies. So I do think that we've got to work, if you've got a workforce that's pure work from home, you've got to understand, is everyone's workplace now the same? No, it's not. And that's something that we've got to take into account as we move forward in the new world of work. And then the workforce. So who can perform the work as it changes, and how organisations can close those skill gaps by tapping into alternative talent pools or upskilling. So I think this is the key as we move forward. So reshaping how work gets done. Okay, so we need to optimise, and this is what I get all the time. We need to do it better. Well, what does that mean? Quality, speed, agility, cost reduction. Always a cost reduction on doing things better. Expand value, so do it differently. Engagement, creativity, innovation. These are the three things that seem to come out of all of my conversations at the moment. So extend, do more. So new capabilities and capacity increase. So people want to go, hey Chris, you might be doing this, but we also need you to do this and this. Hold up a minute, that's three of Chris's. How do I do that? So work, right? Blending roles and teams. This is how work could get done as we move forward. So what do I mean by that? So I've looked at it, implemented it by creating a network of teams. We've all got projects, whether it's BAU or project deliverables, and so I've just taken for example here of 3 projects, and each project will be assigned teams, okay, whether that be a small team, a larger team or a middle-sized team. But how do you get these to work together like this? So they're swapping skills in and out of projects that can increase that capacity that they're doing. So the one way that I've been successful at this was when the last organisation was blending roles, right, for different outcomes. So take an engineer and put them in the L&D space. Gives that whole different perspective. So AI and machine learning, big things at the moment, but AI and machine learning systems, right? Product testing, data and analytics, development of policies, regulations and standards, learning ecosystems, learning science, and approaches to instructional design and implementation. So taking the old, mixing it with a different mindset and a different outcome. So it's a learning environment design and implementation instead of regimented. Not so new, but obviously you've got your data scientist and HR. So understand business problems. Do HR understand business problems? I think a lot of them do. Can they implement? Not always. So they'll brainstorm analytic solutions, right? They'll collect and analyse data. They'll look at these insights. They'll get feedback assessments and using the data science methodologies towards attracting, hiring, developing and retaining talent. It's amazing what comes out of a different mindset in a different function. So the workforce, adapting to the new norm. So I look at this as an open talent spectrum. We've got open at the top, traditional at the bottom. So traditional, as we can see, is permanent, full-time employees and contractors. Pretty much is how the workforce has been made up recently. It started to evolve into that digital labour, so technologies that we can augment or automate. Then we've obviously got ecosystem partners. I don't know if anyone out there has used non-profit organisations or innovation labs. There's a lot to be said about partnering with these types of organisations for a different outcome for your organisation. So if you think the same as you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. Okay, so this is just all about making you think differently. So like accelerators, incubators, strategic ventures. So if you've got problems, bring these guys in. They're a wealth of creativity and innovation and looking at things differently. Then we've got gig workers. Obviously, this has been around for a little while now, the gig worker mentality. So these are highly skilled, specific skill gaps. I use the gig workers. So if I can't blend two roles, I'll look where that gap is and I'll go out and get it. These guys want short-term, quick, sharp. They'll work for a few companies at a time, and they'll get stuff done. So micro workers, so smaller pieces of a larger project, okay, where the gig workers will take over that piece of work that you need to get done. This can get done where it's smaller pieces, it's not probably as technical. Sometimes that's the way I've used them, where it's smaller piece of a larger project. I still need quite a few of them done over a few projects, so we put it out to micro workers. And then the last one is crowd workers, right? So issue challenges with prizes for best solution. The way that I've worked this before, put it out where we actually put proper problems that we had on a particular project last year, and we actually put it out to it was just pre-graduates, I think they were, to solve, and what they could do is gain a scholarship to the organisation. It worked really well. It's just different ways of thinking, different ways of solving problems and getting solutions. So the workplace, okay, so blending technology and us humans. We don't want to take us humans out. So I look at this, and how do we look at this? So learning in the flow of work. So we're all at work now longer, various times. So learning in the flow of work. I use the 70-20-10 rule. So 70% learning on the job through experience. Okay, could be slightly harder now, but learning on the job through experience. 20% learning through others. Comes and ties back to the network of teams. 10% is formal learning. We all need some form of formal learning, but I think whilst we liked it before, I think it'll become less, that people take that in as a mindset. Some people will, some people won't. But it's got to drive high performance. It's got to be at the speed of the business, right? At the moment, we've probably seen for the first 3 months of the pandemic, people were okay with it. Things were still on track. The next 3 months probably slowed down slightly. We've obviously might have missed a few of our targets. Then we've got to increase engagement. How do we do that without doing too many Zoom calls? Because at the moment, everything's Zoom, right? Whiteboard, Zoom. Chat, Zoom, or Teams, or Hangouts. They're all the same. But how do we increase engagement? And how do we increase the agility and resilience, which is really going to be, I think, a big thing as we move forward. So university learning. So this is like through events such as this, innovation sessions and leadership programs. Micro learning. So that videos, blogs, articles, micro learning programs, curated feeds, on demand and in the flow of work. Experimental learning. So coaching, developmental assignments, mentorship, exposure. Then the last part is macro learning. So coursework, courses, simulations, assessment. Can VR come in to this part of learning in the flow of work? Where else do you think technology can come in, and how can you curate this to make learning for your employees better, more engaging, and you get the outcome that you require as an organisation, but also is giving back to the employee? So a technology stack that we developed that encompassed a lot of this. I've taken a couple of things out because I just don't think they're relevant as we move forward in the world of work, and we've got rid of them. But the first one is a workforce management system. Ours was automated workforce management system, so each profile includes like work experience, certifications, past projects, skills and interests, provides workforce availability and current and future deployment. So it's not an ATS or a CRM or anything that you've used before. It's a true workforce management system that allows you to look at availability, current and future. So we had the next part, which was source. So this is where all of those, the open, from the open talent spectrum, the latter part of it. So a platform to post micro tasks which could be delivered externally to address short-term needs. Mobility. So this is where line managers or any of your hiring managers, anything like that, can post roles internally for employees to apply to roles and projects of interest. Apply. Should they apply? Should they? I think that if there's some form of process that you can go to, and you can allow your employees to look at different roles and different functions out of their own, vertical engineering or HR or TA. Let everyone be assessed the same, right? I think this is going to be big as we move forward. So we created a wellness tracker, so a tool that aggregates data from employee wellness app, which we created, and the workforce management system to identify workloads and workers that are at risk. As we move forward, it could be mental. If you obviously got people that are out on site, in those that, then you want to know those that are at risk. Then we've got a team analyzer. This was also, it was an AI-powered tool that helped us assemble strong teams for projects and assignments. It uses the science behind successful teams. So if you've had a successful project delivery, it would use why that was. It learns and makes recommendations from the lessons it learns. It sorts through all the data sets that have been uploaded from our workforce management system, what BDA has assessed to determine which employees would work well together. Okay, so it would have a look at, would I work well with you? Would you work well with my mum? Just saying, so it analyzes it in that way to see how you can progress and have different outcomes. So a data analyst bot. So this bot integrates with both mobility, which comes up just at the top right hand corner there, the workforce management system, and GammaForm, which is just below after this box, and matches current employees with current and future requirements. Okay, which the GammaForm is Accelerate, so gamification performance platform. So as employees progress through learning, they become eligible for promotions, salary reviews. It monitors performance and career growth and integrates with all the other systems. So this takes away that bias of potentially what managers go, I like Chris, he can have a promotion, but I don't like the person that sits next to him, just not my cup of tea. So Chris can get the promotion even though he's not right for it, right? So this is something that we found really useful and has been really adopted now across a group of companies. The hub, so this then goes back into that learning in the flow of work, right? It's a personalised digital learning platform, on-demand, self-learning. It's access to in-person workshops, conferences, courses, videos. It can crowdsource knowledge as well, so across the business, and source and stores all into a chat bot database. The last one we did was Wellness Manager. So this is the mobile app. So it tracks hours worked, travel, vacation, training, exercise, and it helps balance loads, right? So it gives access to nutrition and well-being and grocery shopping details. So we partnered, I'm not saying that every country can, but organisation partnered with a supermarket that is nationally, and gave deals to the employees. So just an extra added benefit maybe to look at when people are working from home. So this technology stack, I think, supports the workforce in achieving external outcomes such as productivity, as well as internally such as wellness and personal development. My name's Chris Long. I am the owner of Talent X, and I would like to thank you for listening to me. Hope I didn't bore you too much. And if you've got anything, connect with me, anything on the right hand side there, be more than happy to speak further. Thanks a lot, take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.